next few minutes. We'll speak to you just for a moment, and then we'll take questions at the end. My name is Chris Harris, and I'm an individual volunteer with One Resistance. One Resistance is a coalition of organizations and individuals dedicated to resisting the rhetoric, agenda, and presidency of Donald Trump. We are equally committed to the ongoing struggle of creating a community that provides for everyone while respecting our humanity, our rights, our environment, and our participation. We are every gender and every race, every age and every sexual orientation. We are students, we are parents, and we are workers. We are able-bodied and we are disabled. We are victims and we are formerly incarcerated. We are refugees and we are indigenous. We are every creed, nationality, and immigration status. We are every class, every education level, and we strive to speak every language. We have planned a march and rally on Inauguration Day with three main goals. One, to show Donald Trump that we are here, we are organized, and we oppose him. Two, to show our allies and community members that have been targeted by Donald Trump that we are here, we are organized, we support you, and we need you. And three, to provide our allies with the means to channel your anger, disillusionment, and fear over the election into meaningful action to stop Donald Trump and build a better community. We invite all allies to help us inaugurate our movement with a peaceful demonstration and protest that my fellow speakers will elaborate upon further. We ask that you consider in the coming days how you can contribute to this movement, how much time you can contribute to this movement, and what issues really drive you. One day you may be asked what you did when Donald Trump was president, and this is your opportunity to say, I resisted. With love, thank you. I'm proud to introduce our next speaker, Austin City Council Member Greg Casar.
Hi everyone, I'm Councilmember Greg Casar, and I'm proud to have played a small role in helping convene this coalition of teachers, seniors, students, environmentalists, parents, civil rights activists, people of faith, and many more from over 40 organizations who are ready to resist the Trump administration on January 20th and for the years to come. There will be several things happening throughout the day on Inauguration Day, and so this little part of my talk is just going to be around logistically what's going down. UT students have planned walkouts that day starting at noon, as well as AISD high school students starting at 3 p.m. Those students will gather with the rest of the public starting at 5 p.m. at Auditorium Shores, where there will be a rally with music, speakers, and celebration of the inauguration of One Resistance. We'll then begin marching at 5:30 p.m., starting up Congress Avenue North towards the Capitol, and we will wrap the march back around downtown, back to Auditorium Shores. The event will continue there and wrap up at 7 p.m. I'm proud of the City of Austin's policies protecting our citizens' First Amendment rights. This coalition has been working closely with various city departments, including the police department and the Office of Special Events, to ensure that this is a safe and family-friendly event for everyone. As a matter of fact, everything I've seen from the coalition and the coalition's stated values are to make sure the march is accessible to everyone and is family-friendly. I also want to let those know who will be driving downtown that there may be delays as several groups, and not just this one, will be expressing their First Amendment rights on January 20th, but those delays are just a part of being a part of the greatest democracy on earth. I will now hand this off to Paula Rojas with Communities of Color United to speak further about the march. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Paula Rojas. My name is Paula Rojas. I'm a mother. I'm a midwife with Mama Sana Vibrant Woman, and I'm also a member of Communities of Color United, a coalition of grassroots organizations that includes ICE out of Austin, ALGO, a statewide queer people of color organization, Food for Black Thought, and many others, working together for racial justice here in Austin. We have decided to join One Resistance to organize with other organizations to take action on January 20th. On January 20th, as Councilmember Greg Casar spoke about, we will hear from speakers whose communities are most directly targeted by the policies of the new administration, including the Muslim community, other immigrant communities, LGBTQIA communities, the Black community, and women and families whose reproductive rights are under attack. We will share our demands for what we want our country to look like and commit to resist and collectively transform the situation we are facing by taking a public oath together. We will have the Capullin Danza group performing, as well as other performers, soon to be announced. Be looking out. Don't miss being part of this historical moment. All of the program will be bilingual in English and Spanish, and we will have ASL interpretation. Some of you might have concerns about attending a protest. We have informed APD and have been assured that they will respect our right to demonstrate. We will not be breaking any laws. Right now is the time that we need all of you to participate. Immigrant communities and families are all welcome. We will have a special section for families with children with snacks, diapers, wipes, extra volunteers to help out. Just look for the strollers and the balloons. Some of us, as you know, cannot legally vote, but we can participate in taking action to vote with our bodies. In this critical moment, we can show our collective people power if we all come together on Inauguration Day at 5 p.m. at Auditorium Shores, with strong voices and marching together. January 20th is only the beginning. I hope to see you there with your families. I will be there with my children. Thank you. Gracias. Up next, we'll hear from Amanda Williams, Executive Director of the Lilith Fund.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Williams. I'm the Executive Director of the Lilith Fund, an abortion fund that provides direct financial assistance to people in the southern half of Texas who need an abortion but cannot afford it. We're proud to be a part of this One Resistance coalition. While we anticipate that safe abortion access and reproductive justice will be further and more severely threatened under the incoming Trump administration, we know that these are among a wide variety of rights that will be compromised in the coming years. This Inauguration Day protest is a critical moment in our history, or herstory, as Paula said, to resist and reject the normalization of bigotry, racism, discrimination, and hate in our local community and across the nation. We want to urge everyone in the Austin and surrounding areas to join us in being part of this growing movement, your movement, one that affirms all of our identities, struggles, and humanities. Join us in creating a space to collaborate intersectionally across movements and causes, and to share and learn from one another as we collectively organize to build one resistance. As Paula mentioned, this event is only the beginning. At oneresistance.com, you can RSVP for the Inauguration Day protest on January 20th and see a full list of participating groups. After the event, we'll be releasing a community resource guide on the website to connect targeted communities with local support and assistance. You can also like our One Resistance Facebook page, and be sure to follow the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag #OneResistance. Please spread the word online and elsewhere, and we look forward to seeing you on January 20th. Thank you so much, and I'll now turn it back to Councilmember Greg Casar.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm going to provide some closing comments. We can answer some of your questions, and then it's actually one of our work days, so we're going to have to get back to work to finish all the preparations for the march. In closing, I think it's important that we remind ourselves that we live in the largest state in America that is governed by a Trump-aligned regime. We should expect that we will be ground zero for Trump and his followers' policies that will make many of our families suffer. And it's for that exact reason that Texas, and here in Austin in particular, should be the headquarters of resistance to Donald Trump. Some people watching may ask, what is the use of marching and demonstrating against a regime that is so ideologically opposed to everything that you ask for and stand for? And I believe, in the time that I've gotten to watch some of the organizing meetings here, that the response of One Resistance and of so many people in our community is that it is our moral duty. In fact, it's our responsibility to our families, our children, our grandparents to fight back. There is no other option than to stand here at this ground zero in the seat of Trump Republican power and resist. Trump and his ilk want nothing more than to pretend that there is not resistance here. They would rather nothing more than to pretend that those who suffer at their hand are quiet and few in number. But instead, we will be the headquarters of this resistance. We should and shall be the first to declare that Black Lives Matter, that no one is illegal, and declaring and demanding the inclusive community that our nation's founding documents promise. I'm proud to have been a small part of getting ready to inaugurate One Resistance on January 20th alongside this coalition. As Dr. King once said, progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step towards the goal of justice requires sacrifice and struggle. Our struggle will continue long after January 20th. In Austin, we're not just going to resist through protest. We're also going to resist by being a powerful example of effective government and community empowerment. That's the work that I know this coalition will continue to do together long after this event. I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you all so much. Speakers are happy to take questions up here, or we can go do one-on-one depending on what's best for you all.
Councilmember, what kinds of policy would you like to see? Obviously, you're an elected official. What kinds of things do you feel like City Council can do to implement some of this resistance that you talk about?
I think there's many steps that the council has taken and is planning to take. I know Councilmember Flanagan is going to bring forward a resolution to form an LGBTQ boarding commission, which we've never had before in the city. The council recently passed a resolution to find immigrant funding, emergency funding for immigrant legal services that are so in demand, and the council will soon be voting to allocate that money, and I look forward to doing that work alongside them. It's also really important that we continue pressing on workers' rights and civil rights issues. We're in the midst of doing a review of our policing policies, as was called for in the last budget by Austin Justice Coalition, Communities of Colors United, and others, working on body cameras, and then also on things like requiring higher worker protections and workplace advancement in exchange for expedited permits. There's a long range of policy issues, but I know that what's more important, as an elected official, I'll tell you what's way more important than any given policymaker's ideas is the organized movements of people that push policymakers to make particular decisions. It's really the community that drives our values, and I don't think that I think you will continue to see resistance from local policymakers as long as it's demanded of us by groups like this.
Have you heard of any other movements maybe taking place outside of Austin, just like this one here?
I think that there's some folks here that work for statewide organizations that likely could speak to that to you maybe right afterwards. They're
Certainly
not amongst our 4 speakers.
The other question I had was, during the last protest, right after November 8th, right after Election Day, there were some other people, anti-police organizations that joined into the protest, and the message may have seemed construed. Communism groups were joining in. Is that something that is encouraged, or even the phrase family-friendly was mentioned during the conference?
And since I think we had some speakers that were really speaking to the family-friendly part of it, I think I'll let them take that on if you prefer, or I'm happy to answer it.
So we're clear that we're trying to create a space so that vulnerable communities can participate. I think that's the priority more than anything. So people who can't vote, who could still take a stance, people who might feel not that likely to participate in protests to be able to come with children. It's an intentional invitation that we're creating, an intentional space of safety and mutual support and solidarity.
And just to be clear, we're a nonpartisan coalition. We do not have any ties to any group of any party, and you can see the full list of participating organizations on our website. Again, that's oneresistance.com.
We good? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.